G'day watchers, welcome to Perth WAtch, your horology channel broadcasting from right here in Perth, Western Australia. Today I am featuring I think this is my first piece actually from Filippo Loreti. They did reach out before, but I think it is only now that I found a piece which you guys might be interested in. Now they are I guess a brand that is trying to improve. Previously a lot of homage watches if you look at their website, but recently they've come up with this weekly creations bit which has some very interesting things, and looks like official collaborations. Now I was almost taking a look at the Joker model, the Batmobile model, which looks really quite interesting. And even that yellow sports one they had out recently, they looked very interesting, but they were all quartz chronographs. And my feeling was always, watch enthusiasts prefer mechanical, which is why I chose a mechanical model, which is what I have in here and is what I'm going to review today. Okay, box. Fairly standard cardboard, really not, I don't think meant to be kept long. It's just to hold the case. And the spinability, at least 4 out of 5 on this table surface here, fairly smooth. And it kind of just opens there, a bit of story, if you want to read any of that. And I won't go into manuals. In fact, I don't think they actually provided any manuals, not that, you guys actually need it. Just opening this up and going to show you this particular watch in closer detail here. So what we have is the Filippo Loreti Neptune Blue Automatic. Obviously a dive watch, right? Very, very ostensibly a dive watch here. Now the retail this is listed at is $470, and that is going to be mostly, a big part of this question is, will you pay $470 for this, or would you actually expect a discount? Probably a discount, I would think. But there are some good features that we will go into in more detail. It comes in a black version, but really I think that's it. Black and blue dial are the choices for this particular model. Now, as I always do, let's first go into the movement, which is nothing too surprising. It is a Seiko, it's the NH36A, so good on them for putting a date here, not just a date. And specs down the left, which a lot of you probably know off by heart. In terms of accuracy and regulation, this actually is running about +8 seconds per day, which is absolutely fine. It's well within limitations and is something I can very easily live with. Okay, now going on to the case then. This is a full-blooded diver, very, very chunky 316L steel. Now, as I measured it, at the 330 to roughly 930 position with calipers, it is 43.5 millimeters. Bezel itself, you can see the bezel, straight away is narrower than the case, is actually 41 millimeters measured by calipers here. Thickness from the bottom of the case to the top of the glass there, 13.8 millimeters thick. The lugs, in a sense, maybe it's an interesting conversation, but you could actually take this off and put your own straps in. This is actually 22 millimeter lugs here, and the lug to lug distance between my thumbs is a very substantial 50 millimeters. I haven't weighed this yet. I'll put the adjusted weight down the bottom here so you can see how much it weighs. I reckon at least 160 because this is actually fairly chunky as a feel of this watch, a very solid feeling watch. Finishing wise, you got long brushing on the side surface here, but otherwise, this faceted case is, and nicely faceted, I have to say, is polished. So polished top there and then polished, bottom bevel, fairly nicely done. At the bottom, undersurfaces of the lugs are also polished. Everything else on the case itself is actually a polished finish here. And the base, I have to point out as well, is concave, right? Those lugs go below the screw down case back, right? The lugs actually hang below that. So which is an interesting feature and design choice they've made here to make it hug the wrist a bit better. Now that laser etched case back, you can see obviously Neptune, right? Laser etching on the case back here is solid. It's screw down, and it's also got a screw down laser etched logo crown here. Full-blooded 300-meter water resistance for this dive watch here. And I would say it is dive watch. It meets all the criteria potentially to fulfill ISO 6425 or whatever the dive ISO is. Okay, moving on to the dial here, which is also pretty well done, I have to say. This is a matte blue embossed dial. There's a thatch pattern. I'm going to call it a thatch pattern, but they haven't really named it. But they do say there is obviously a very embossed pattern here, which really is quite nice. It's really got a three-dimensionality to it, and it's got printed details, very thick applied polish indices on all 11 locations, and then a nice applied window at the date and day display there. In terms of chaptering, it's on the flange. Hopefully you can see it on my shots here. Solid polish, polygonal style hands. I don't know what shape you call that. Basically, I'm just calling it polygonal. It's got a splash of red on the seconds, as well as the automatic on the dial, with finishes the look of this dial, which is fairly attractive. And I have to say, it does give an illusion of concavity here. Now the dial itself is flat, I'm pretty sure of that, but the way the indices pop up, it looks like it's a bit concave, which is a nice effect here. The lume is very bright. It lasts all the way through the night. They didn't tell me whether it's super luminova, but it functions very well. All three main hands, all 11 indices, as well as a stripe at the 12 o'clock position to kind of differentiate that from the rest, and also a dot on the bezel pip here, which is lumed. So full dive luminosity. Lume shot, of course, for you guys to see how it looks like in the dark. Okay, going on to the bezel here. So this insert, high contrast, I assume is ceramic. They actually didn't say, but it does feel like ceramic. It looks like ceramic. So I'm going to assume that it is, at least, for this price point, that's what they should be providing. 120 clicks, unidirectional. 5 clicks. Hopefully you heard that. Not very loud, which is not a bad thing, I think, in my books, right? 120 click unidirectional dive style bezel. Just going to turn it back to the 12 o'clock position so that you guys with OCD don't get seizures when I put that somewhere else. Okay, so that's the bezel here. Got a bit of a slight coinage. It's not really a coinage. I don't know what you call that. There's a grip here. Not the most grippy, but functions well enough. And then the glass on top of the dial here, just a simple flat crystal. So it is mineral glass, but they say it's sapphire coated. So make of that what you will. Let me know actually what you think about sapphire coated mineral glass. Do you think that is cuscotting? Does it function anywhere near as well? Or is it actually inferior, very obviously, to full sapphire? Now, bracelet, interestingly, I think, look, it's 5 pieces per link. So the center links are polished. This H piece, well, actually it's 4 pieces, isn't it? Not 5 pieces. There's an H piece, which is brush. The center 3 links are separate, and those are polished. The side is polished, and the integrated bit is, of course, brush here. And it's really nicely integrated. I have to say, this looks like it's, I thought it was fully integrated, but it not fully. It's just a very nicely done end link, which is solid. And you can see the spring bars there. If you wanted to remove this and put your own straps, you can, but I wouldn't, like it's very nicely done. It's got a female style end link here. Just nice, like details that they have put into this bracelet, which I really enjoy. It's got push pin adjustment, right? It's not screws, and it does taper. It tapers from 22 to 20 millimeter with a 21.5 millimeter wide clasp here. Now the clasp does leave a little bit to be desired because that's just pressed metal here with push, I guess, friction security here. There's no press button here. It's got 4-point micro adjustment for what it's worth. Right, okay, so that's the entire description. Just gonna snap it on. I just love how you can just snap on bracelet watches, and that's how it looks like on my 17 centimeter wrist. So remember, it's fairly thick, 13.8. Large lug to lug, and arguably probably too large for me, 50 millimeters lug to lug distance. And that's how it looks like. That bracelet's pretty good. It doesn't feel completely OEM. The clasp does, but the bracelet does look pretty good, I reckon. Okay, that's it, guys. Let's just take it off and talk about my thoughts. Now, what are the strengths? What have I enjoyed about this watch? Look, it is a very solidly built diver with all the requisite capabilities. I think it's got 300 meter rating, solid bezel, a very nice solid feeling bezel here, great lume, very good lume, a reliable NH36 movement, and a super chunky tank-like case. It reminds me of something like the Samurai, but of course it's nowhere near a copy. It really is its own thing, which really it's that's the micro brand grail, really, right? Doing your own thing and not copying anybody else. And well done for this, or let me know if you think this is a copy of something else, not something I've seen or aware of. And I have to say, the finishing is good, very good. Faceted aspects I enjoy, how this case is faceted with that end link and, how those angles to the top of the case here. And a very interesting textured dial, well done texture, concave, illusion. Really enjoy looking at this particular dial here. Overall, any weaknesses? Well, not too much. Look, the bracelet is mostly solid, as I say. I think the design is pretty nice with the integrated lux, but as I say, the clasps, I think they could have extended a little bit more, give us something more solid, something with push button release. San Martin can do it. I'm sure Filippo Loreti can do it, and that would definitely lift the whole watch up, as opposed to thinking that there has been some cutting down at the clasps here. And then overall, I would say price, that would determine, how this watch is viewed, right? So $470, you might expect full sapphire. You might even expect a Swiss clone movement, actually. Let me know what you think at this price. Or realistically, probably only move units when on discount. So guys, that's my thoughts. Look forward to the discussion of this. Let me know your thoughts below. What do you think about this brand? What do you, do you have any other pieces? I would love to hear your experiences. If you have any watches from Filippo Loreti, you can share with me about. So guys, there we go. My review of the Loreti Neptune Blue Automatic. Thank you for joining me. As always, I'll see you guys next time.